Ernest Miller Hemingway was born on July 21, 1899, at this house in Oak Park, Illinois. He was the second of 7 children whose parents were Dr. Clarence Edmonds Hemingway and Grace Hall. Ernest spent every summer of his childhood in northern Michigan at his family cottage on Walloon Lake. His father taught him to enjoy the outdoors, and they would spend days on trips in the wilderness. By the time he was an adult, he was a master at outdoor skills. Hemingway was a happy child and was always the center of attention. Throughout high school, he played football but was a bad athlete. Ernest made up untrue stories about he being the team hero, and in these stories, he found his passion for writing. Rather than receiving higher education after high school, Hemingway obtained a job at the Kansas City Star. At the paper, Hemingway learned new rules for writing, which he used throughout his life. With the beginning of World War I, Hemingway was drafted into the Army. After being rejected from service because of a genetically inherited eyesight problem, he joined the Red Cross as an ambulance driver. Ernest had an urge to see action, so he signed up for a dangerous job, which resulted in a major injury and required hospitalization. During recovery, he fell in love with nurse Agnes von Kurowski, who dismissed Ernest as being too young for her. He was devastated and returned to America in a state of depression. The experience with Agnes inspired the novel A Farewell to Arms, which was about a wounded soldier's affair with a nurse. It topped the bestsellers list and is often considered to be one of Hemingway's best works. While unemployed and contributing to the Toronto Star, Hemingway met Elizabeth Hadley Richardson at a friend's apartment. Despite their differences, they ended up marrying at a church in Horton Bay, Michigan. Seeking inspiration, Hemingway moved to Paris with Hadley. In Paris, he met Gertrude Stein, who introduced him to the Parisian modern movement of literature. She was a great critic and helped him to improve his writing. His stay in Paris was a very productive time in his early career. Both 3 stories and 10 poems and The Sun Also Rise were published from Paris. Hemingway became part of the group known today as the Lost Generation. This group involved many writers and artists, including Pablo Picasso and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Hemingway wanted to divorce Hadley and marry Pauline Pfeiffer. Unfortunately, Hadley made him stay away from Pauline for 6 months. This period of time was horrible for Hemingway and inspired another country and Men Without Women. He finally married Pauline and they moved to Key West, Florida. Hemingway loved Florida, the people in the area, and the long fishing trips. Hemingway divorced Pauline and wrote For Whom the Bell Tolls out of guilt. The book was very successful and sold 500,000 copies in 5 months. Hemingway moved to Cuba in order to fish more often and to investigate German activities. He married Martha Gellhorn, who had a career of her own. They did not see each other much during marriage and did not stay together very long. After divorce, Hemingway had his 4th and final marriage to Mary Welsh. He then wrote Across the River and Into the Trees, which was highly criticized and unsuccessful. As a follow-up, he wrote The Old Man and the Sea, which was again highly criticized but was his greatest success. For this book, Hemingway won the Pulitzer Prize of 1963. Also, he won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953 because of this book. In his late life, Hemingway began to have mental issues and thought that the FBI was after him. He was admitted to clinics many different times, but it all ended on July 2, 1961. Hemingway put his mouth over his shotgun and killed himself. Ernest Hemingway was a great writer who will always be remembered for his impact on modern literature.